Hey y'all, tip of the day. Be that friend that's not afraid to tell your homegirl or homeboy that they got a booger in their nose. Do that for them. Be a good friend. Okay? Okay, bye.
Made it left on Marseille just to holler at the young king. I done been all over the world on MLK, but ain't nothing like lead better with your girl sideways. A sunny day, boys gon' hit Rochester. Sunny or gray, we gon' be on lead better. Oh, clear. One time for the grove, yeah, they call it.
Good morning, good people. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am in these streets early this morning on a weekday, which is not my norm. But I am headed to my place of work that I've been working for 30 years because they are recognizing me for my 30 years today. So baby, who's going to go get their plaque is me, because I normally always get just a certificate and a little pen to put on, a little lapel pen. So baby, I'm going to get a plaque today. I said, okay, I'm leveling up, I'm getting plaques now. So baby, yes, I got up out the house. I put me some work clothes on. I got my little flats, but I got my heels in my purse. Gonna stop at Starbucks and get my tea before I do anything. But the ceremony doesn't start until 10. It is 8:53, so I'm in good timing. Okay, so yes to me. I am really excited about that. It took me 30 years to get a plaque. But anyway, I hope you guys' morning is going great. I'll try to get some footage of the ceremony if I can. So just depending on how many people are in there or where I can set I got my child doing everything. Probably not. I don't know. I'm gonna have to prop the phone up because I think I left my tripod. And I don't know if I want to take the tripod in there and make a scene and all that kind of stuff. But anywho, I'll try to get some type of footage. But my manager is gonna be there. Hell, I'll make her hold the camera and record me. So y'all have a good day, and I'll see y'all in a little while.
Good afternoon. Today it is our honor, both Rick and mine, to recognize Gail Howard, an extraordinary professional whose dedication.
So y'all, everything was so nice. 30 years of service. Yes, thank you, Lord. Let me show y'all my
That's right.
plaque
Speak over
while I'm
yourself.
here in the car. Let me turn my music down because I don't want to get a copyright strike. So the ceremony was really nice. All of my management team, they were here today in the building. Everybody normally works virtually, but they all were in today. And I took a picture with them, so I'll add that. Look at that. 30 years of service plaque. Yes. Come on, Teresa. To God be the glory. I know my daddy's going to be proud when I send him these pictures and stuff. Because he encouraged me, y'all. Because when I first started working here, I was like, Daddy, yeah, I'm only going to do 5 years and then I'm going to bounce, right? And he was like, you get your butt somewhere and sit down. You stay right there and work your way up. And look at me. 30 years of service. I did exactly what he said. I worked my way up in the company. So now I am a supervisor and I make some good money, y'all. Good money. But I'm trying to make this YouTube money, though, so I can go on and sit on down. I tried. I looked into retiring this year, but my age doesn't add up with the retirement age here at the company. So you have to be, I think, 62 to get full benefits, and I'm not willing to give up my benefits. If I can make it to 62 years, if the Lord grants me 62 years on this earth, then I'll retire at 62. Right now I'm at 53, so I got a ways to go. But y'all pray for your girl, okay? If now I ended up getting married along the way. I'm gonna resign because I'm manifesting that I'm gonna be making some YouTube money, and I'm gonna get some type of brand deals and stuff like that, and I'm gonna make my money that way. And then I can help my husband out, because I'm gonna sit it down, baby. I'm gonna resign and wait till I turn 62 and come back and pick up my retirement. So that's the plan, y'all. But anywho, I'm getting ready to go get me some lunch, and then I'm gonna head back home and get back on, you know, this job, get some work done, check on these employees and stuff. So see y'all in a minute. Let's go get some lunch. Okay, y'all, I'm up here at Malibu Poke, or Pokey, however you say it. I think it's Pokey. Yeah, so Malibu Pokey. I'm gonna go in here and get me a poke bowl, because I love poke bowls. And I've heard that Malibu Pokey, they have great poke bowls. I don't know, I may create my own, or if they have one that I really, really like, with everything in it that I like, then I'll go ahead and go with that one. So let me get out this car, go in there and get that, so I can get my ass home back to the house, okay? Okay. Okay, y'all, I got my bowl. Now I'm headed to his house so I can eat and get some work done. So I'll show y'all how the bowl looks once I get home. They bagged it all up and everything like that, and I don't feel like taking it out. So when I get to the house, I'll show y'all how it looks. Because maybe you might have one in your city or town or whatever, and you might want to try it out. So I'm definitely going to give a review on what I think about it. So let me get on down this road and head on home. And I'll talk to y'all in a minute. Listen, y'all, don't judge me, baby, but I'm back right on back up here at Starbucks getting me a my mango dragon lemonade, baby. These are good. Real good. I know I've been here once already today, but that's okay. That's okay. Starbucks is my place, so, and I had to have these to go with my lunch. So they won't see me no more probably this week. Or no, I'll take that back. They gonna see me Thursday, not tomorrow, but Saturday. Let me get home so I can get to work. Okay, let's see what it hit for. See how it tastes. Give me some of everything on it. Avocado, some of the rice off in there. Tuna, red onion. That's good. Very good. I like it. Very healthy option. Very healthy option. So, needless to say, I'll be going back to Malibu Poke. But let me finish eating this, because it's good and I want to be eating in y'all face. Alright? Alright. Okay, my peeps. Today was a good day. My poke bowl was good. That was good. But I'm back in my car, and I am headed to the studio because I have a photo shoot at 6. It's a young lady's birthday. Well, my little cousin. I'm talking about a young lady. She's my little cousin. But she, of course, booked with me to get her birthday pictures done. So I'm going to go and do that. So I'm headed there now. I just never stop. I'm always on the go. You know, and I thank God for the ability to always be on the go. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to do that, but I'm so proud of myself for the 30 years that I have been on my job. It takes a lot of commitment to be on a job that long, you know, and I've seen been so many changes from the time I've been there. 30 years, I've seen just a lot of changes, a lot of leadership changes, all of the good stuff, everything. Like even the hospital that I originally started working at, Parfum, is not even there anymore. They built a new hospital, and when they built the new hospital 15 years ago, they didn't have enough room. They didn't even build it with the intentions of my department even being there. So the department that I work in, I work from home, so I don't really have to go in, which is a whole blessing by itself. Do you hear me? So, and I remember being upset a little bit when they told me I had to go home, because I was like, no, I need to be here with leadership in the building. Dang, I'm finna miss out on something. It took me to maybe one good month to be like, girl, what was you thinking when I was at home? I loved it. So my office is upstairs, so all I have to do is walk from my bedroom upstairs. Baby, I'm in my office. I don't use no gas or nothing. So, and it saves a lot of money. You ain't gotta spend money on gas and food and all of that kind of stuff. But it took a lot of hard work to get here 30 years. I remember when I first started there, like, I told my daddy, in 5 years, I'm gonna be gone. And he was just like, no, just sit your butt down. I think I said that a little early. He was just like, sit your butt down, work your way up. And that's exactly what I did. I worked my way up. I was able to get tuition reimbursement when I was working on my master's degree. I was able to get tuition reimbursement through Parfum. They would reimburse you like so many dollars for A and a B or whatever. And it was wonderful. Like, the benefits there are great. And we get a lot of little perks. And not to mention that the care that you get, I use all the Parfum stuff. I don't go outside of the network. I don't. Because that's a teaching facility. All the doctors go there to be taught how to care for patients. So they have an employee health there. I go to employee health. Anytime I have to have any type of minor little procedure or something, I'm right there, baby. Because I ain't getting ready to pay me probably a $50 copay or something like that. It ain't much at all. I'm going to say that. So a little or nothing to have surgery or something. So, yeah, no. Them benefits be on point. I can honestly say that. But, yeah, I know that for me, I've always tried to be a team player. I always tried to dress the part. Like, I always went to work looking, neat, nice, neat and prim. Hair together or whatever, my clothes together. And I would always get, if I went out the job, most of the time I would get the promotion. I would always get the job because management, they just like, even if I didn't even know what I was doing, they was still trusting me because of my servant attitude. Like, I never said no. When they asked me to do something, I would do it. Like, I didn't have a problem with that. I was like, just keep signing these checks because I got, bills and stuff to pay. I got kids. They in school and stuff. They need things. So it was like, I never said no. I never said that was not in my job description. I never had that type of attitude. And I didn't even have the brown nose or nothing. I just never said no. I'm just like, you asked me to do something. I was like, oh, okay. I don't care if it wasn't in my job descriptions, because job descriptions change all the time. And so I don't care if they ask me to sweep the floor for 8 hours. Oh, okay, is that all y'all want me to do for the day? All right, let me go on and sweep this floor. I ain't gonna say no because I'm still getting a check. So I just feel like when people ask you to do something on the job, do it. Don't do it because that looks good on you. When it's time for a promotion and stuff, guess who they gonna look at? Because you didn't have no attitude and you didn't tell them it wasn't in your job description. They're gonna look at, oh, well, she went above and beyond. Or, I asked her to do something and she was very compliant. We can trust in her. We know that she's loyal to the job and she's going to show up. So those are the type of things that you want to represent when you're at work. Like, because you want people to look at you because you're going to want that promotion. You ain't going to want to be in that one position making the same thing all the time. Because I hear people complain about, they need to pay me more money. Well, what are you doing to get to the money, baby? What you doing to make them pay you more money? Like, what what steps are you taking? Are you just gonna keep staying in that position and just not doing nothing else, but you feel like they need to pay you more money? Well, you ain't doing nothing to take steps for them to pay you more money. You ain't trying to go to school. You're not trying to, you know, check into what other type of positions do we have here, and what does it take for me to get into those? Ask questions and stuff, because I remember, you know, me, the department that I currently work in now, before I even got in it, my manager now, Kathy, she's my manager. I remember when she was just, you know, just a regular employee working or whatever, and she was doing coding and reimbursement, and I used to go in her office and I was like, what are y'all doing? You know, that's before coding and reimbursement was really popular. And I was like, what are y'all doing? I want to learn it. And like, she was like, you want to learn? And I was like, yeah. I was like, because I just noticed that y'all make the most money in the department. And she was like, girl, I'll teach you. And so, like, sometimes I would stay late after work, like, especially if I didn't have to pick my kids up, I would stay late. She was showing me the ins and outs. She would let me read her coding guidelines book. She would show me what she's doing. And so what I started doing, I asked her manager, like, they had some data entry overtime that they needed for that department. So I was like, hey, if it's okay, can you, you know, train me, and I'll work overtime for you, you know, just show me what I need to do. And so they trained me. I started working overtime, just doing the little data entry part. But that was a start, because I was able to see, you know, some of the things that go on in the department and how, you know, they process things and stuff like that. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go get a certification. I'm gonna go get a certification, because that's all you need. You need a certification. You gotta pass the state test and get your license to be in that department. But I went and got me a certification. Certification, passed test, got me a state license. So then I was making the money. So I was like, you know, and people was like, oh man, how long did that take? I was like, every bit of 9 months. Just go to school and get a certification. It took me 9 months. You can do that, but people, you know, just want things handed to them sometimes. Nah, you gotta work, you gotta grind for this stuff. You know, and then I worked my way up from there. You know, I did the coding and reimbursement part of it. And then after I finished getting my master's degree, the director at the time, she was creating positions, education positions there in the department. And she found out I had a master's in education. So it was like, I knew I wanted to elevate in my career, but at the time I was like, when she came to me, she was like, hey, we're creating an educator position in this department and I want you in it. And I was like, what? Like, I ain't even been doing this long as everybody else. But she didn't care. Like, and I was like, well, I told her no. I'm gonna be honest. I told her no. I said, I don't feel comfortable taking a position that I don't know everything in. Like, I'm still kind of new, you know, at this coding thing. She said, I don't care, but I was looking at your productivity. You always meet productivity, and your quality is good. Like, all your audits have come back and you passed all your audits. She said, I took all of that into consideration. She said, and I don't care if you don't know everything. I don't. And she said, but I like your style. She was like, you come in here, you dress like you coming to work every day. And she said, your personality is great. You're great with people. And she said, I want you in this position. She said, we'll groom you and we'll help you be whatever you need to be in this position. So it was like, what? I was like, oh my God, I was so nervous. Because I was like, I don't want to take this. I just don't know. I don't know everything. I was just in my head. But I remember a sermon that my pastor had. He preached in one Sunday. He said, it's not about what you know. It's about who you know. God will put you in positions sometimes that you don't feel like you're qualified for. But he'll bring you through that. He's going to give you everything that you need to be the best in that. And that's what he did. You know, but I had like a lot of people that did, you know, they were jealous and mad because they didn't get it, because they had been working in that particular department, not working at Parkland longer than me, but in that particular department of coding and reimbursement. Some of those people had already been in that particular department, and they weren't being promoted. And then here I come in there in that department and get promoted like that, making money. So I'm like, they were jealous and mad, and I'm like, Look, I didn't even apply for the position. I didn't go and ask nobody for nothing. Like, they came to me, and I don't even know why. I just felt like I had to explain myself to nobody. I shouldn't have been doing that either. But I was just like, why are people mad at me? And so it was only one girl in the department. She came and told me probably a couple of years back, and little Hispanic girl, I just love her to death. That's my little dog. I call her. She's younger than me, but that is my little sweetheart. I love her to death. But she was like, and we always have been friends and, you know, talked and stuff like that. And we were just talking one day, and she said, Teresa, she said, I have something to confess. I owe you an apology. I said, for what? Excuse me, y'all. I still had this cough from that upper respiratory infection I had. I cannot kick it. But she said, I have a confession. And I was like, well, what's up? And she's like, I owe you an apology. She was like, because when you first got promoted, she was like, I was so mad. I was so mad that they gave it to you, because I've been in this department doing this job forever, and I didn't feel like you knew enough to be in that position because you came in here last and all this. I was like, I was just listening to her. She was like, I was so pissed because I really wanted that job. And she was like, I was so jealous of you. And she was just pointing on. And she said, and I really owe you an apology for that. And she said, because you have been in this position and you have really shown who you are, you know, as a worker and, you know, as a person. And she said, you've handled it very well. And she said, and I just want to apologize to you because she said, I wanted to let you know that's how I feel, and I really, really shouldn't have been, you know, feeling like that. And then I said, you know, it's all about timing. You know, I told her, I said, you know, what's for you will be for you. If God wants you to have it, it's nothing nobody can do like that. And I said, it's all about, I said, your time will be your time. And so now she is a lead. She's a lead. She's a lead person in our department now, and doing very well at it. She's great. But I just thought that was very, I appreciated her for coming to me and saying that, because none of the other ladies that was mad and jealous, they ain't saying nothing to me yet. That's been years ago, but because I've been in this department forever now. But I started working in coding and reimbursement in 2007, and I started at Parfum in 1995. But I started in coding and reimbursement in 2007. But she was the only one who ever apologized for acting, you know, silly or whatever toward the whole situation. And I'm like, y'all, stop. And I still, even though I don't be doing everything, some of the people are still probably sharper than me and stuff, but I still show up. I still show up because I know how to handle myself. I know how to speak. I always used to practice trying to, you know, in meetings and stuff, I would practice trying to speak, you know, articulate my words correctly and things like that. And, you know, I would always be, you know, very vocal in the meetings and stuff, you know, with management and stuff. I would be, you know, probably the first one to speak up. I would join the employee council committee so that I could be, you know, a voice for the employees. Like if they had a problem and stuff like that, they can come to me and tell me, oh, okay, what's the problem? I could go back to our COO and COO and tell him, you know, these are the issues that we have in our department, our VP and stuff like that. I can go and talk to them. The employees feel like this. The employees want to wear jeans on Friday or whatever the case may be. I was their voice. So it was stuff like that. I always did all that kind of stuff. Management, they look at that. Like, they look at that kind of stuff, y'all. I'm telling y'all. So when this stuff, when you have stuff that you can volunteer for at work, volunteer for it. Just say, I ain't finna work my 8 hours and I'm finna be gone, baby. They don't be paying me to do all that. That's why you ain't making no money. So, but I said all of that to say this, you know, act like you're an owner of your company. Wherever you work, act like you're an owner. Man, and pretend like you're the CEO, you know, of that company, and treat it like you would do if you had your own business or something like that. Because that's how you excel. So, you know, don't go in there with no attitude. Dress the part. You know, try to articulate your words and you know, just be a team player when you're at work. But it was like, my pastor also said, like, we have leadership at my church, and I think that was one of the things that helped me the most, because I'm at leadership at church. So it was like, my pastor said, church, you know, we operate as a machine. Everybody got to play a part. Everybody has a part of the machine in order for it to work. So when you go into work, remember, like, you're like a part of that machine. You are important to that machine. You are a part of that machine. You help make that machine work. And so, you know, put your best foot forward. Do your best. Give them 100% when you're there. And I promise you, when you start doing all those type of things, you'll be seen. You will. Even go to your boss. If you feel like, you know, you want to excel in the department, go and say, hey, you know, I've been here for a while, and I've been in this position, and I know we don't have any positions open right now or anything that I can apply for as far as that will promote me, but hey, what are some things you think I can do, or do we have some classes that I can take that will help me get to where I need to be? Or if you go talk to your manager, you have a lot of managers that, because I had my last manager before I got promoted this last time to supervisor, he was like, whoa, he was like, okay, Teresa, what would you like to do? I said, I was like, you know what? I was like, this department that I'm currently in, because I was doing, it's called an editor's position. I was in an editor's position. They, you know, it makes really good money. But I was like, you know what? I really don't want to do management. Ooh, no. I don't want to do management, but I wouldn't mind being in a leadership role, supervisor, whatever. And then he was like, oh, okay then. And he was like, oh, okay, well, let me talk to a couple of the managers or whatever. And bam, like, got interviewed or whatever. And hey, I ended up with the position. That's how it was. And I love what I do. I love working with people. I love teaching people. I'm not a gatekeeper. I'm gonna teach you everything that I know, because there's money to be made by everybody. So it's enough room for everybody. So I don't gatekeep, sweetie. So I'm gonna teach you everything that I know. And if I don't know it, hell, I'll try to find out for you. But anywho, but I'm totally grateful. Thank God for 30 years. I hope I can make it another. How many years I gotta stay there before I can retire? I think I need another. I think it's another 8. No, I might need to stay there another 8 to 9 years before I can retire, because I can't retire right now because I'm too young. I don't match up with the retirement age in order for me to get my full benefits. Now, don't get me wrong, I could retire today if I wanted to, but I won't get my full benefits, and I ain't trying to not get my full benefits. And I pray to God that I can hold on to those 8 or 9 years, and I pray to God that nothing goes on to where it costs me, you know what I'm saying? Because you just never know about this economy and things that are going on right now. It's just, oh Jesus. So I just pray to God that I can make it. And so yeah. So until then, I'm just gonna keep on giving them 100% of me and just being Teresa. But let me get on down this road. I done did enough talking. So I'm headed to the studio to get this shoot done, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye. I just wanna see ya. Must be Santa Ria. I just wanna re-up.